Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be exploring NAVLNX. What is it, how it works, and what it can do for you. As you may know, I'm Adam and I'm part of the 4PS account management team. I'm joined this morning by one of our consultants, Rob Swift. I'll hand you over to Rob shortly just to take you through what we're going to be covering today. But firstly, just a bit of housekeeping. So if you've been on any of our webinars before, you know how it works. But if not, we ask that you forward any questions directly to me once the webinar is over. I'll pop up my contact details on the screen at the end of the presentation, so feel free to give me a call or an email and I'll help you out. This way we can just save some time and make sure that we don't overrun. Also, as usual, this session is being recorded and will be available to re-watch online in the very near future. So if you're all set, Rob, it's over to you and we'll get going.
Hello and welcome to the webinar from 4PS UK, as Adam just alluded to. My name's Rob Swift. I'm one of the consultants here at 4PS UK, and we shall begin. So, in terms of an agenda for today's webinar, I will look to cover a brief introduction to the NAVLNX solution, a brief overview of NAVLNX's key features, a brief look at some of the example use cases for NAVLNX, and a look at NAVLNX, what they call Magnificent 7, which is a term used to describe NAVLNX's 7 key functional areas. And then at the end, I'll cover off a select number of non-technical demonstrations outlining certain capabilities of the solution. So, an introduction to NAVLNX. NAVLNX is a tool available within the Dynamics NAV environment for reporting, document generation, data import, export, and end-to-end system integration, to name but a few. NAVLNX offers powerful design and process tools. It also offers an open structure to allow for easy extension and has a cost-effective granular licensing model. In terms of NAVLNX's key features, NAVLNX requires minimal installation requirements or commitment. NAVLNX offers an extensive range of design tools. NAVLNX itself supports multiple common file formats that could include CSV, XML, EDI, Word, PDF, to name a few. NAVLNX is designed with both flexibility and growth in mind. It utilizes a Lego structure to support this, which allows different components to be combined as required. It offers a split between data that is being extracted and this data being outputted. NAVLNX offers the ability to produce pre-formatted documents and templates. For example, if you're printing out a sales invoice, you can define the template that a particular sales invoice for a particular customer can be outputted to. NAVLNX offers a range of process and automation tools to support the transfer of data in and out of Navision itself. NAVLNX is a feature-rich user experience, including such features as advanced lookup, user favorites, so this might include commonly used tables and fields, so you have the ability to save them as favorites, and rather than having to scroll through a list of all Navision's tables and fields, you can filter by your particular favorites to view those. In addition, it offers what NAVLNX classes as quick builds, but you could also see it as a wizard-based assistance tool to help you produce or build your profiles from scratch. And then beyond that, it offers a number of design macros to help improve a process devised using NAVLNX further beyond the wizard process. NAVLNX also offers context-sensitive expressions, and also has a number of capabilities to allow for the production of function and operation pages. Use case examples. NAVLNX, as an extensive product, facilitates several possible purposes for its use. Examples may include list and analysis-based report generation and distribution, document rendering and delivery, the creation of data take-on templates and linked imports, on-demand scheduled or automated processing or processes, end-to-end system integration and EDI solutions, the construction of web portals for the purposes of external data capture, the creation of business-specific data entry validation, and the definition of custom data views, including data searches. NAVLNX Magnificent 7. NAVLNX consists of a range of integrated components. Of these 7 key interrelated functional areas, these are what are affectionately known as the Magnificent 7. Each of these functional areas consists of 2 or more components. Such components can form the building blocks of a process being devised using NAVLNX and can also be combined to meet a business's requirements. Each functional area has a principal component, and the first 4 functional areas, as you'll see in the chart that follows, have an equivalent, or at least one equivalent NAV object. So just briefly show you the table in front of us. So this outlines the 7 functional areas that make up the Magnificent 7. So for example, you have to start off with process. Its principal components are NAVLNX execution profiles. The equivalent objects within NAV could be code units or reports. So execution profiles cover in the main the execution of processes concerning NAVLNX. The second of the Magnificent 7 is inbound. The principal components for this functional area are import profiles. The equivalent object in Navision would be, for example, XML ports or NAV's rapid start solution. And this particular function area covers the importation of data, to name one example. The third are queries. Their principal components within NAVLNX are data profiles, and their equivalent NAV object would be queries within Navision. So queries cover in the main the construction of data sets from one or more databases, from one or more data sources as well. The next, outbound. Its principal components are NAVLNX output profiles, and the equivalent here are reports in Navision or XML ports. And the outbound in the main covers the outputting of data to one or more formats, for example. Storage. The main principal component for this is NAVLNX register, which, as an example, allows you to store outputs produced via, say, a NAVLNX outbound profile. So you have a one-stop kind of area for the storage of these particular outputs. For this one, there is no real equivalent Navision object. The sixth, NAVLNX or configuration, sorry, its principal component is NAVLNX configuration. And in a nutshell, this allows users to define customization to the solution or the NAVLNX solution or a part of the processes they might be building using NAVLNX. And then last but not least, the area of design. So the principal component here are project profiles or NAVLNX design tools. And this covers in the main the ability to design and test NAVLNX functionality. So in terms of demonstrations, I've got 3 demonstrations to show you. The first one is a very simple list report, or the creation of using NAVLNX outbound profiles. So in this demonstration, I'll demonstrate the outputting of a list of bank accounts by vendor. This output will occur via PDF and includes a combination of fields from 2 tables. For those that are interested, the tables here are the vendor table and the vendor bank account table. And also the ability to apply filters to a data set prior to the outputs being generated to allow you to reduce the amount of data for whatever reason that's outputted. And in terms of utilization of NAVLNX functionality, this will utilize data profiles, which sits under the query functional area, and output profiles, which sit under the outbound profile area. So if I come into my Navision client, so I've jumped straight into Navision, and I've jumped to the Navision outbound output profile list even, sorry. And here you'll see 3 examples for today's webinar. The first, which I'm going to demonstrate initially, is this one here, the webinar demo vendor bank account PDF output. So for the purpose of today's demo, I'm not going to demonstrate how the profile was put together. That's something I could probably cover off if you're interested at a later date. However, to be able to produce the output, all I do is I click on the process icon here. This brings up a filter screen, similar to what you might have in your reports if you're running reports in Navision. And this allows me to filter my outputs results. To do so, I'm just going to quickly add some filters here. So against the vendor number field, I'm now going to define the relevant vendors that I wish to show in my output. So I'm just going to expand this so you can see a bit better. I can enter it manually here, or I can select individual ones as I see fit. So I'm just going to choose a select few, so 3. And then when I'm ready to proceed, I click on OK. And you can see here it's constructed a pipe separated list to produce or request the results for 3 vendors: vendor 10,000, vendor 20,000, and vendor 30,000. When I'm happy with the filters that I've supplied, I can then click on Submit. And this will begin to generate the output. And it will see here for this particular example, it's asking me if I wish to proceed in opening it. So if I click yes, I don't actually have a PDF viewer on this particular server, but it's coming from my Google Chrome browser. And you can see here it's outputted the vendor number, the vendor name, the vendor bank account code, bank account name, and the branch and account number from the relevant 2 tables that I've defined within the design of the profile. So that is the first example. If I jump back into Navision, please bear with me. Sorry, into the PowerPoint presentation. For the second demonstration, I'm going to demonstrate the creation of what I class as a top slice report with a pie chart, covering off the top 10 customer balances in my current Navision clients at the point of today. So in terms of the demonstration itself, I will demonstrate the outputs of a report outlining the current top 10 customer balances. And I'll also include a pie chart within the outputs to visually denote this data or describe the data. And then as a third option, I will then it will then also email out the outputs to the relevant parties on generation. So that could be your finance team or a sales team, whatever it might be. And in terms of utilization of NAVLNX objects, I will look to utilize or will utilize data profiles, which sit under the query functional area, output profiles, which sit under the outbound functional area, and NAVLNX configuration, which sits under the configuration functional area. In terms of NAVLNX configuration, this will be configuring or would have configured some variables in the system to denote the email addresses I'm sending the relevant output from and to, and also the body of the email that the relevant recipients will view. So again, I'll come back into Navision. And I'll go to my second output profile here. And again, I'll click on Process. And you'll see here again, it comes with a filter window. Now by default, it's produced what they class as a top slice filter, which allows me to define how many records I wish to output. In this case, because it's classed as a top 10, it's defaulted to 10, but if I wish, I could change that to how I see fit. And also down here, if I wish to filter the results for specific vendors for whatever reason, I'm also able to do that here. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to leave it as is and generate the output. So initially, it's allowing me to view the output. So I can click yes here. And you'll see it's produced the top 10 list in sort order. So from top, the biggest balance first down to the lowest balance, or at least to the top 10. And then below that, it's also produced a pie chart to denote those data, those values for each of those particular vendors. Customers even, sorry. If I go to my email, I should have received an email relating to that, and I have. So if I open the email itself, and you can see here, this is the body that I've defined. So it says, hi, please find attached a copy of the current top 10 balances. And if I open up the PDF, it's also available within the email as well as an attachment. So on to the third demonstration. So this third demonstration, I will look to cover the outputting of a sales invoice to a custom template that's been predefined. So as in terms of the demonstration itself, it involves the creation of an output profile to produce a PDF copy of a sales invoice report using a predefined template, as well as emailing the invoice to the customer. I will look to define, or will have defined, NAVLNX configuration document links. So this is another function within the NAVLNX configuration area where I can define customer-specific report and template layouts for specific reports that are produced within NAV. To say that if it's customer A, for example, they will receive the standard, or will be printed out the standard sales invoice report, or if it's customer B, they will receive or have printed out a custom layout version of the same report. And then as that the above would suggest, in terms of the utilization of NAVLNX functionality, we'll utilize data profiles to produce the data set that's outputted. So that sits under the query functional area. You have output profiles, which sits under the outbound functional area. And you have NAVLNX configuration, which sits under the configuration functional area of NAVLNX. So just to demonstrate that, come back into Navision. And I'll scroll down to the third one here. So, and I go again up to the process function here. Oh, before I forget, in terms of the actual template itself, I have some predefined templates that NAVLNX is going to reference. So it's a very simple template with the company's address information and contact details, and also the company logo. So this was originally designed in Word and converted to a PDF for use within the NAVLNX solution. So going back into Navision, if I click on the process icon with the third output profile selected, and I can define a particular invoice. In this case, in the NAVLNX configuration document links, I have defined that customer, this Salungrian Limited, I think that's pronounced correctly, would receive the custom template for the sales invoice report when produced. So I'll choose a sales invoice for them. Click OK, and click on the submit. So in this case, you can either click on the submit or the OK. They both have the same functionality. It'll generate the output. And if I return to my email, I should hopefully have received the relevant documentation. And there we are. So although in this case, I'm treating myself as a customer, the actual design of the profile itself refers to the customer's table to locate the email address of the customer to be able to send this invoice to. And again, slightly different, but I've constructed the body of the email as follows. Dear customer, please find attached a copy of the invoice related to the order quoted in the subject. Because within NAVLNX, you have the ability to customize the email subject to be based on the data that you've outputted. So in this case, it says sales invoice 103018 for the name of the customer. And if I open the report or the PDF that's attached, you can see the customized report layout with the relevant information produced for that particular sales invoice. Additionally, you can also, although I've run it from the actual output profile itself, if I was to go, say, for example, in this case, to my posted sales invoices in Navision, and if I find one for the customer concerned, go to print, and just do a quick bit of setup here. Rather than the standard print window or the options window that would appear for a standard NAV report, it brings up the NAVLNX equivalent, and it automatically knows which invoice I am trying to print out. So what I have to do in this case, or produce, sorry, what I have to do in this case is click on submit. And this will generate the same process as it would do if I was running directly from the output profile window itself. And there we are. Okay. So, in summary, today I've covered off an introduction to NAVLNX, NAVLNX's key features. We've also looked at some of the use cases that you may wish to use NAVLNX for or can use NAVLNX for. I've also looked at, in brief, the NAVLNX Magnificent 7, or its 7 key functional areas, and I've also covered off 3 demonstrations. So thank you for attending today. I hope you found it useful. NAVLNX itself is quite a vast product, and this is only touching the iceberg, as it were. If you want to find out more, I'm sure Adam will be able to provide you with the relevant details.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rob. I hope you'll find that interesting and useful. As you've seen, NAVLNX is a very versatile and comprehensive solution for NAV. As Rob was saying, we've only really scratched the surface today. So if you do have any questions or would like to know some more, taking out my contact details, and please do get in touch. Our next NAV Know How webinar is on the 18th of October, where we'll be looking at optimizing processes around recurring journals and deferrals. So keep your eyes open for the sign-up details for that. Also, by now, you will have received an invitation to our upcoming Customer Day on the 13th of November. It's going to be an excellent day where we're going to be hosting roundtable discussions, getting updates on all things Microsoft and NAV, looking at some one-minute wonders in your system, NAV integration with other software, and much, much more. So if you'd like to attend, you can either sign up on our website or just let me know and I'll do it all for you. So once again, thanks for being with us this morning. Have a great day and we'll see you again very soon. Cheers.